Hello friends, and welcome back to my crafty space. My name is Crystal, and in today's video, I am going to be working through a project planning process for this month's Story Kit Crush Story Kit. So this month we are working with Progress, which was released in April of 2020. And I already have a few stories that I have told with this kit, which I will bring over here and show you guys. But what I have in front of me is what I have left in this kit. So before we get into the process of going through all of this and figuring out what stories I can tell to both use up this product and to get inspired to tell stories from, first, let me show you what I've already done with this kit in the past. So one of the things I like to do with my story kits every single time I get one is to do at least one spread of Project Life using that story theme as a jumping off point for my journaling in a week of Project Life. So this was the Project Life spread that I did. This was week 26 from 2020, which I do have a process video for, and I'll link it for you guys. But this was a really fun way to talk about some different things that we had been making progress on during the summer, during the spring, because this was in June. Things like yard work and playing outside and working on brewing our latest craft beer here at our house. And it was a really fun way to tell those stories. So Project Life Spread is the first project I did. So the next two projects that I have to share are ones that I used the digital kit in order to create them. So oftentimes the creative team and also a lot of the subscribers as well get access to the digital kit before the physical kit ever arrives. So I like to take those digital kits while I feel the inspiration to tell those stories and use that to help me creatively use the product in possibly a different way than I would if I had the physical product with me. So this spread I created using a lot of journaling cards, and I also cut out or created pictures, took pictures and cut those out into tag shapes of some things that I had been watercoloring. I was working on the 100-day project, which, spoiler alert, I totally failed at, but I did do like 2 weeks of watercoloring. And so I used those to create this spread about making progress on this new goal that I had set for myself. So this was done completely digitally. I do also have a process video for this one as well. The other one that I did with digital product was one for my son. So this one, I paired a full page photo with a chipboard. So this was originally a chipboard piece. I blew it up really big, and then it opens and has journaling on the inside, talking about Jonah walking outside for pretty much the first time in his life and how he was very hesitant and nervous about it. So I've got some digital stamps as well as some of the physical product, because when that came in, I could just add it on here. And then, the rest is pretty much history there. So these two were digitally created for the most part. Some things, this one doesn't have anything added. This one just has these two pieces right here that I added on when the physical kit arrived. The final project that I have already created using the Progress Kit with is this one about my daughter. So it's Practice Makes Progress. And I was talking about her learning how to ride her bike. So I have a picture of her when she first started riding her bike. I believe this would have been like the previous year, maybe 2019. And then I had a picture of her the next year in 2020 riding her bike, where she's much more confident and talking about getting out and practicing and how that helps her to make progress on her skills at riding her bike. So these are the projects that I have already done. Now let's get into what I have left, and then we'll go ahead and start planning the projects and the stories to tell with those. Okay, so for this month, what I have to work with, what I have left from this kit are a series of 4x6 cards. So I have Making Good Progress. I have this one that's day by day making progress in a list form. I've got a 30-day kind of calendar checkmark thing. I am still learning from Michelangelo, and small progress is still progress, with a few bullet points here for journaling. I've got some 3x4 cards, so forward moment, forward movement, day by day, always learning, learn to trust the process, and don't measure your progress using someone else's ruler. So those are the cards that I've got remaining. I do have the stamp set, which gives me a little bit of options for creating pattern papers and the like. I've got some circle cardstock stickers that I can use up here. I've got the progress acrylic piece, a slew of tags that I can work with here, a whole bunch of them. And then I've got a variety of the embellishments left. So what I'm going to do is put you guys on fast forward, and I am going to work through all of this product and see what kinds of stories I can pull out of this to tell, both, like I said before, for using up my product, but also for getting inspired to tell stories that I might not have thought to tell otherwise. So let's go ahead and jump into this and get planning. Once I have everything done, we'll slow you back down so we can close out for the day. So let's jump in. All right, so jumping into this planning process, I am first going to go through a bunch of these journaling cards and figure out what types of stories I can tell with them. I will be honest and say that some of these cards lent themselves right away to a story that I could think of, and other ones, it was difficult. It was difficult to think of a story that I could tell with it. Ultimately, I ended up using up all the product and figuring out different stories that I could tell, but typically when I'm working with a story kit, it's much easier than it was with this one. So that's just to say that, sometimes it's not easy to figure out what stories to tell. And, that could be an argument for holding off and waiting until a story comes later in life that you can tell. For me, I personally just don't like to have products sitting around waiting. So I chose and I prefer to just go ahead and figure out something that I can tell with it. And that also helps me tell stories that I may not have thought of otherwise. So, there's kind of two sides of the same coin there. So I've started out by piling together different cards that I think go well together. The one you see there in the center that says forward movement, I want to use that to talk about my new, it's a baby, fledgling new routine of working out in the morning. So I'm waking up during the weekdays, 5 days a week, and doing a morning workout, alternating between yoga and like a HIIT, I think is what it's called, or a Pilates type workout. So something that's a little bit harder than the yoga stuff, or a little bit more cardio in it. So that is the story there in the middle that I just set to the side. Then I've got a story at the top where I used a card that said, I am still learning. And I wanted to talk about things that I'm still learning along the way of this creative journey that I am on. I like to do some check-ins every once in a while with myself and where I am at creatively and what types of aspirations I have moving forward. And I thought that the sentiment, I am still learning, lent itself very well to doing that type of story for my album. Now, right now, I am working on what to do with all of these tags. The tags that you see to the left side, I'm actually going to use those to create a small tag booklet. That was my original idea to use all of the tags for, but it just was way too much. It was too busy, too many tags. So I split some of them up and put them in a few other stories instead. So the one right there has a total of 5 tags, and I'm adding that into a story pile where I've got a card that says day by day, and I want to talk about the progress that Izzy is making in her schoolwork, how she's really adapting to working, doing school from home, and then also how she's just excelling at certain subjects that we are working on. So I want to talk about that, and the tags is going to give me an opportunity to do that. Ultimately, I will actually split that up and make it into 2 stories, which you'll see here in a little bit. And then I will use one of them to talk about her progress. So one of them will end up being about school and our progress in homeschooling. And then the other story will be the one that will go to Izzy, and that will be more about her embracing imperfection. It's something that she and I work on all the time. And so I really liked the tag that said embrace imperfection, and that gave me an opportunity to tell the story about something that she said to me the other day. She said, you know, Mommy, from now on, I'm going to love all of the perfect things and all of the not perfect things. And, you know, that was just like progress, right? Progress. So that is kind of the stories I'm working on right there. I struggled a bit on what to do with the acrylic piece. I love the acrylic pieces, and usually I can find a way to use those right away, but this one I struggled with. So what I ultimately decided to do was to take those, what are they? Like fabric. They are fabric adhesive hearts, and I'm going to use those in conjunction with the Progress acrylic piece and a chipboard, a chipboard sticker that you'll see me move up there in a second. And that is what I'm going to use to talk about progress that we are making on random things in our house. So I just want to talk about like things that we're making progress on a very like big picture, zoomed out type of scale. Some of the other stories, I love the card that says don't measure your progress by somebody else's ruler or something like that. I love that sentiment. And that is something I want to use in my personal journal, my pocket page notebook, to do some deeper journaling about figuring out what it is that I want to do. So like figuring out what makes me happy and what my passion is and what the path forward is for me, and staying in my own lane. That it's very easy to look at everybody else and see what everybody else is doing and want to join on that bandwagon, but that ultimately we need to really look internally, look in the mirror and figure out what is the best path for us. So that's going to be a great sentiment card along with the always learning. And then there's the tag that says, I like who I am becoming. All of those just were perfect for that type of storytelling. The last one I have up at the top are most of the pinks and then a few navy blue colors. I added some of the tags up there to tell a story about my niece to put in her baby album about, making progress on something. I talked to my sister-in-law and we're thinking of maybe doing like a breastfeeding type story, or her making progress on being able to grab things with her hands. So just something to signify how she is growing. But we're hoping to get a story from earlier in her life, because I have the first couple of months of stories that I need to fill in her album. So that's a great opportunity to do that. So now we're going to go ahead and start getting everything sketched here. I added those circle cardstock stickers to the I Am Still Learning set, as well as the Trust the Journey chipboard piece. I thought both of those were perfect for talking about creative journey and still learning and figuring things out. And I love using these stickers as bullet points. It's probably one of my favorite ways to use the circle stickers. So I do it all the time. Like, you guys have seen me do this 100 times already, but I don't care. We're doing it again. There is nothing wrong with scraplifting yourself and doing the same technique over and over and over again, especially if it helps you to get your stories told. There's no shame in that. So I do it all the time. And that, I think I'm actually going to do 2 separate spreads with the exact same format, using those as bullet points. So, it is what it is. So I am just going to add a portion of the card to the bottom of a 6x8 page, add the stickers on there with some journaling, and then pair that with a 3x8 picture that has the chipboard sticker on it. And then the next one, I think I'm going to pull out the next one. That is going to go basically on the back side. Yes. So this is going to go on the back side of the one we just sketched, because I am going to start this one with a 3x8 photo. So that helps me to fill in both sides of that like 3x8 pocket. And then, the stories are different, but they still kind of sort of go together in a way. This is the one that I'm going to do about my new workout regimen. I added a couple of the the pleather stickers and a chipboard sticker in there. Ultimately, I decided not to use those. I felt like it would be too much. So I'm going to set those to the side and dream up a different story to tell using those later. For this one, I want to have a full 3x8 photo, and then I'm going to use that forward movement heart to basically fussy cut it out of the card, add it to my photo, and then put a little chipboard star on top. And then the other two cards, one of them I'm going to use for journaling about getting myself ready and prepared to take on this new hobby, or not hobby, habit, we'll call it. It's not really a hobby, it's a habit. And then I want to use the calendar one to not necessarily mark it off as a calendar, but just to mark off the days. And so, tracking myself to when I get to 30 days of working out in the mornings. So hopefully we'll get there. Now we're moving on to the story I'm going to tell about embracing imperfection with my daughter. So this one, I moved over a different card here. So I've got this making good progress card. And then I also have that day by day card. So the day by day card, I am actually going to put as the very last piece in the tag flip book. I think what I'm going to do, since this is most likely going to go on the left side of my page, having it could go on the right side too, because I'm not going to put a photo with this. The photo will be a 3x4 photo up in that upper left-hand section. But so it could go on the front side or the back side of a page protector. The reason I'm telling you that is because I am actually going to hole punch the day-by-day journaling card and string it on with all of the tags in order to create a flip tag piece. And I'm thinking what I'll do is take a circle punch, maybe the 1.5 inch circle punch, and punch out just a little dip in part of the page protector so I can slip that down inside the card. I can slip down inside and have the tags kind of dangling off the front. And then it'll still be able to go in and out without having the twine or whatever it is that I string it together with interfering with the pocket itself. So I think once I get this one actually done in real life, that will make a lot more sense. But that's kind of my train of thought at this point while I am sketching this out. So I am going to use the Making Good Progress as a journaling card. So I'm just going to write in my journaling lines. The photo will go up in the upper left-hand corner, and then the little tag booklet will go there. I also want to pull out some pictures of my daughter either coloring or drawing or doing some kind of artwork. And that is what I'm going to back those tags with, because when we're talking about embracing imperfection, my daughter is quite the little artist, and she does get upset when she makes mistakes. So it's a really big step for her to be okay with, her drawings not being perfect. So that is what I want to do is use pictures of her creating art to represent this story. All right, now moving on to the next one. This one, you can see how I'm going to set my title up there at the top, and I actually really love the way that looks. So I have the progress acrylic piece with the "You are making progress every day" chipboard on top of it. I will probably prop that up on some foam stickers so that it can stay on top of the G. And then I'm going to use the hearts at the top to just kind of point down at the title piece. I think that really helps draw your eye down the page. Then I'm going to use 5 more of those circle stickers as bullet points, and that is where I'm going to add in journaling on what it is that we are making progress on right now. That is a page that I have decided to not pair with a photo. It's just going to be words, and that is also totally okay. That still counts as scrapbooking, even if there's no photo involved. For this story here, this is the one I want to put in my pocket page notebook. So I have since added this little chipboard piece that says "little by little," and then I also had 2 remaining two remaining cardstock circle stickers. So I threw them both in here because the colors went well. I've got the red and the navy colors here, and I figured I could probably find a way to use them. So we're just gonna, go through this and see what we can design here that looks aesthetically pleasing. So my initial thought was to add the journaling card, that always learning, on top of one side of the traveler's notebook. So a pocket page notebook, if you don't know, it's basically like a standard traveler's notebook, but in between the 2 pages, there is a pocket that is sized at the traveler's notebook size. So it's like, cardstock or, white paper, pocket, white paper, which is really cool because you can either turn that into 2 separate spreads, or you can add some kind of see-through element into that pocket so that it all goes together, which is typically how I like to use it. So my plan is to take the journaling card, add that on the left side, and maybe use my stamp set, my progress stamp set, to stamp out some kind of background to put it on top of. Then on the right side, I'm going to have a full page photo. I will take a circle punch, maybe a 3-inch circle punch, to punch out the "don't measure your progress using someone else's ruler," or I may fussy cut that out and make it kind of a block of text that I will add on top of my photo. Then I love that little tag that says, "I love who I am becoming." And I want to use that and put it in the middle of the pocket piece, and then take the pocket piece and turn that into a shaker pocket. So that is my plan for this page. And then I like the way that the 3 chipboard and the chipboard piece and the 2 cardstock pieces, I like the way that they look when it's blue, red, blue, and underneath that journaling card. So that allows me to use those. It looks aesthetically pleasing. It helps add to my story, and that is always my goal. So this page right here, this is the one that will be about my niece. So what I'm going to do here is I am going to I do a 3x8 baby album for her. So that is what I'm working within the bounds of, is a 3x8 album. So I will use the progress card that you see there with the journaling lines. That's going to go on the left side at the bottom, where I can add in the story that goes with this page here. Then I'm going to add the tags that you see in another little tag flip booklet, where I may put some extra journaling on there. I may put some photos on there. It just depends the story that we tell and how many photos and how many words I've got to work with. But I'm going to do essentially the same thing, where I will attach it outside of the page protector, and most likely I'll make some kind of stamped background card that will serve as the background for that tag booklet. And then on the right hand side, I'm going to put a full page photo with some of the chipboard pieces. So this last one that I'm working on here is the very few remaining bits that I have left. I originally thought I could take that "small progress is still progress," which by the way is from the 4x6 card. I just cut it in half, so it became a 3x4 card. I thought originally about cutting that into, or punching it into, a 3-inch circle, adding that into the middle of a 6x8 canvas, and then using the pleather pieces and that chipboard piece as titles where I could add journaling underneath it. I didn't really like the scale of it, so instead I'm going to put this in a traveler's notebook. So this could be another one of those pocket page ones, or it could just be in a standard regular notebook. So what I want to do is to take the pleather rectangles that you see there, and I have one remaining rectangle that is a chipboard piece. I want to space those out on one side of a traveler's notebook, and then underneath each of them I want to use my stamp set to stamp out the journaling checklist lines. You can kind of see it there on the stamp set here on the screen. And then the other pieces become the titles. So this is a story that I want to talk about. Honestly, I don't remember. I'll have to see what I wrote, because I don't remember what I was going to talk about making progress on here. But on the right-hand side, I decided that I want to do some kind of grid with photos. And then, I know what I was going to do. This is going to be progress on my word for the year, which my one little word is embrace. And I drew this all in like a standard traveler size notebook scale, but what I'm thinking is actually putting this into my one little word journal and pairing it with some of the pieces that I have remaining from my vision boarding earlier this year. All right, so once I get this all packaged up, we will go ahead and slow you guys back down. All right, friends, that completes our planning process. So out of the remaining product that I had from this progress story kit, I actually got quite a few stories that are here and ready to be told. So I've got a total of 7, which means that I will probably be doing some doubled up videos here so I can get all of these told, because now that they are in their designated story packets, I need to get to work telling the stories so that they don't sit too long and I forget what I was going to talk about. So the next step in my process will be to go sit down at my computer, figure out photos, figure out journaling, and then once I have all of that done for all of these, then I come back to my desk and put them all together. So that is what I'm going to be working on next year. Now, today is Story Kit Crush Friday, so there will be an additional video available today walking you through either one or multiple processes here for some of the stories that I have. So make sure to check that out if you would like to see some of these stories come to life. And otherwise, the rest of the stories will be coming on the coming Fridays. So keep an eye out for those as well. I hope that you enjoyed this planning process. Maybe it gave you some ideas for some stories that you can tell either with this kit, maybe with a different kit, or just stories in general. If you did enjoy it, I would love a thumbs up down below, and don't forget to hit that subscribe button so you can see all of the content that's coming in the future. I will be back again next week with some new videos, so I hope to see you then. Until then, have a great weekend, a great rest of your day, and I'll catch you all in the next video. Bye.